All right. So I know forgiveness is kind of the name of the day, right? I have a quote by John O'Donohue, who's, one of my favorites, about forgiveness. So he writes, "When you can forgive, then you are free." I mean, it's that simple, isn't it? When you can forgive, then you are free. When you cannot forgive, you are a prisoner of the hurt done to you. If you are really disappointed in someone and you become embittered, you become incarcerated inside that feeling. Only the grace of forgiveness can break the straight logic of hurt and embitterment. And I think you could take that quote and replace the meaning around forgiving someone else. And you could also look at it for forgiveness that you're welcoming into your own heart, forgiveness of the self. And you could, maybe think of, instead of embitterment towards another, I think a lot of times when we need forgiveness of ourselves and we're not allowing ourselves to kind of come into that space, shame is what kind of like layers on. So, whether it's needing to forgive somebody else or needing to be forgiven, we become a prisoner of our in our own heart when we don't allow the flow of forgiveness to happen. And there's those adages, like holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from the poison, or an eye for an eye, will make the whole world blind. And I think this thought is that, to me, and I see this in our culture so profoundly right now, that we need to step into the flow of forgiveness, both receiving and giving. And this takes patience and time and a state of mercy. I looked up the word mercy this morning, and the root of the word mercy means two things. There's two roots. One is the heart, and one is suffering. So the suffering of the heart. And when we bestow mercy, we're trying to alleviate the suffering of the heart, to give ourselves over to the release of suffering from the heart. Um, and I think, when we can sit and contemplate the suffering of the world, whether it's our own internal suffering or those closest around us or what we see everywhere, it becomes much easier to recognize our state of humanity and to feel that sense of connection, so that we can more easily turn toward forgiveness and let the release happen that forgiveness can offer us. um, and these are not easy tasks. This is not easy stuff. It's probably some of the more difficult things that we have to kind of touch up against, to in our human connection with each other. But if we're able to have mercy, to recognize the suffering of self and others, to try to not only hold it and know it, but uh, to release it and to support healing in this way, we can do so much good. So it's really worthy. And one of the things, I'm not Jewish, and I don't really understand the fullness of Yom Kippur at all. But what I love about it is that there's this yearly um, offering of creating a clean slate with yourself and with others. And we can do this moment by moment. We don't have to wait for the big holiday to arrive, and we don't have to wait for any moment other than this moment. But what a beautiful thing that there's ritual around being forgiven and offering forgiveness and knowing the suffering of our combined humanity. So I honor this holiday for those of you who are embarking upon your fast or your contemplation at sundown tonight. So take a moment to close your eyes and settle into a good posture. And as you drop in, remember that your yoga practice every time you step on the mat, you have this opportunity to really sense how you feel and not have these layers kind of keep building upon our emotional states where just sifting through can be challenging in and of itself. That we can know ourselves moment to moment, and we can offer the grace of forgiveness to ourselves and to others, and offer the grace of mercy where we connect into our shared human experience of suffering, and lend our hearts, lend our sense of healing to that. So every opportunity when you close your eyes and go inward, you can find a bit of this. So first come into the breath and know the feeling of your breathing. Our breathing is our bellwether. It tells us so much about our internal state, physically and emotionally. So how are you breathing right now? And can you notice that if you start to slow your breath down and pay attention and make room, that there's a calming impact not only on, the actual nervous system, but on the emotional body and on the mental body, that there's a sense of spaciousness, slowing down, calmness that can come over us, giving us an opportunity to move into these deeper, important states. Start to notice not only the pattern of the breath and how it's impacting your mind, but notice the ease starting to form in your body. Maybe your shoulders can relax a little bit more, or your hands can soften, or your face can soften. Again, just allow a sense of slow to start coming, where we have plenty of time. There's no rush and there's no agenda. We're just here noticing our body and our breath. When you are ready, let's bring our hands together at our heart and just offer an intention for your practice. And release your hands, and let's find our way onto our back. So as you stretch out and start to feel the ease that comes from the simple act of lying down, let's just enjoy that horizontal feeling on the earth and take a moment to just feel that sense of support, that the earth is here to support you. A little mini shavasana as we begin. Can you melt your body? Can you, present and accounted for, can you just bring yourself fully here to begin our practice? And then stretch your arms overhead and find your way into some length and some space. Reaching one side, reaching the other side, and enjoy the sense of opening in the body. And then draw your knees into your chest and go ahead and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, and then hang on to the knees and circle and kind of rock around on that pelvis as you circle one direction. And then the same as you circle the other direction. And then take a moment to open up your knees away from each other and bring them back in toward each other. So you just have this nice broad range of motion in your hip joint. All right, and then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and feel some movement in your ankles. Say hello to your feet, wake them up, enjoy. Notice your head, stay nice and heavy in your head, and relax your shoulders. And let's switch sides, left knee and right leg on the ground, and we'll keep moving our feet about. See if you can kind of not only touch all the bones and joints of your feet, but start to sense into your calves, your shins. And then stretch open to a star, reaching your body wide and broadly. Roll around in your wrists and your ankles. Open and close your fists, wiggle your fingers. And then exhale and draw your knees into your chest and pick up your head. Release your head down and open up one more time. Open up to a star. Big breath. Exhale, drawing your knees in. Relax your head. Put your feet on the ground. Arms stretching out to the side. Spread open your hands while you're here. So feet on the ground, stretch your palms, stretch your fingers away from your heart. Just feel that little bit of nerve tension that might be giving you a little zing through your arms. And we'll start to windshield wiper our knees left and right. Kind of turning your head in opposition of your knees so that you just feel that nice wringing out of the spine, very gentle twist to begin our practice. And then we'll cactus open the arms while you're here and just kind of take stock. Are both hands able to come down to the ground well, or do you have a little tightness in your shoulder anywhere? We're going to stretch our arms straight up overhead and then slide them down back into a cactus and draw your elbows down toward your sides. Trying to keep, and your hands will probably come off the ground when you do that. That's okay. Just kind of waking up some of this length in your shoulders as well as a little awareness of the shoulder blades and the back body. And one more time, reaching the arms up and then cactusing them, dragging your elbows down toward your sides. Okay. Interlace your elbows with your hands, so hang on to the opposite elbows and stretch your arms overhead. Lengthen your legs now and reach them long as well. And from here, let's scoot into a little bit of a C shape in your body, holding your elbows, lengthening through your sides. Try to keep your elbows down on the ground if that's available to you. Keep your hip down, keep your shoulder down, and then come back to center. Stretch your arms straight overhead, a little bit of length from one side to the other, and then we'll grab our elbows again the opposite way. And then scoot your torso to the right, your feet to the right a little bit, finding that C shape in your body, just subtle. Drop your elbows down, drop your ribs down, and breathe. And then come back to a star, reaching your limbs wide again. Exhale, draw your knees into your chest. Head comes up, and let's roll to your side. Coming onto all fours. Taking your time. And as you find yourself onto all fours, let's lean our body weight into our left hand and left knee, and then transfer that body weight over to the right hand and right knee. So we're just going back and forth, kind of yielding and then pushing, and yielding and then pushing. Just kind of knowing those two sides of our body, getting that feeling of what it feels like to give our weight down and to push off. All right, and then let's start to move through some cat cows, arching and rounding the spine, taking some time for some full movement of your spine. We're going to do some heart opening practices today. So really pay attention to your vertebrae and which of them are feeling nice and free and which of them might not be feeling so nice and free, so that we can pay very close attention to taking good care of our vertebrae. All right, we'll wag our tail and just start to feel that kind of side rippling through our vertebrae, opening up some of those little muscles along our spine. All right, and then stretch back toward a child's pose. Walk the hips back toward the heels, stretch your arms overhead, and find your breath. We'll walk our hands over to one side, so we're feeling some reaching through our side body. Over to the other side, feel that reach. Drop some weight into the sit bones. Feel your hips drop down a little bit more. And then come back to center. Find your way back to all fours. Let's find our twist, reaching one arm up in the air. Exhale, slide that shoulder down and twist to the side. Enjoying the breath here, melting through your head. And then turn toward the ground a little bit, so we're facing the ground with our chest, collarbones wide, the arm is still underneath you. And just stretch open through the posterior capsule of the shoulder. You can drop your hips a little lower, you can reach them up a little higher, just kind of find just the right sweet spot for stretching your shoulder. And then release that, inhale, reach that arm back up in the air, hand down onto the ground. We'll switch our sides. Okay, take the twist here, relax into this, breathe into this. And then when you're ready, we'll face the ground a little bit, keep that arm underneath you. So we're stretching through the shoulder. The more you drop down toward the ground, the more the shoulder will stretch. Full breaths in and out. All right, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's find a dog pose. So as you come on up, take some time to pedal your feet and just opening up the back of the body a little bit. Find your breath. And spread your hands, spread your feet. Feel our roots. Lengthen through your spine. Keep a sense of softness through your skull. And then we'll come walking forward. Grab your blocks. Uttanasana. A forward fold, relax your skull. Feel the opening through the backs of your legs. Release any tension in your head. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through your spine. Let's pedal our feet while we're here. So we just opening up our hips a little bit more. Drop one hip way back as you straighten that leg, bend the other knee. And just keep going back and forth. Feeling your hips open up a little bit, your hamstrings. And then release, spread open the bones of your feet, bend your knees, melt your skull down and bobble your head a little bit. Take your hands at the base of your skull, heel of hands at base of skull, drop down toward the ground, and an ever so slight chin tuck. Let the hands do the work. A nice passive stretch along the erector spinae, the muscles along your spine. Inhale for a halfway lift, hands back on blocks. Exhale and release. Push through your feet, rising up, bringing the arms to the sky. Let's Open up a little bit of a back bend here, just stretch up and just into a comfortable position of leaning back. Front body gets some extension. And then we'll neutralize the spine a little bit and come to a cactus in your arms. So spread open your chest, feel your shoulder blades, and then exhale, round in chin to chest. Inhale, arms up, around to a cactus, and then exhale, forearms in. One more time. Forearms together. Find your heart. Close your eyes for a moment and just see if you can start to peel away any layers around your heart space, melt a little bit. Remembering that to be forgiven and to offer forgiveness is not just a mental state, it's a heart state. Okay, let's reach our arms up. Take your hands straight out to the sides. Press to imaginary walls away, fingers pointing straight up toward the sky. Let's do some backward circles, just opening up some of those nerves in our shoulders and arms. Okay, and then back to pressing. Lift one ear up toward the sky, and then lift the other ear up toward the sky. Back and forth one more time each side. All right, and then relax and give your hands a shake. Shrug your shoulders up toward your ears, and then give them a release. Take your elbows in front of you, cross one over the other, eagle arms, drop your shoulders, feel that stretch across the tops of your shoulder blades. Shoulders down, elbows up and forward. Melt. Close your eyes for a moment. Let your eyes melt. And then if you reopen, let your peripheral vision take over. Breathe into the ribs. And relax your arms. Reach them back up. We'll switch sides. Other arm on top. Drop the shoulders. Collarbones broaden. Elbows up and forward. Breathe. Melt the base of the skull. See if you can let the breath travel into your rib cage well. Try not to collapse your chest. And then release the arms. Bring the arms all the way up. And then bring them all the way down. And a little bit of shoulder shrugging. Backward circles with your shoulders. Feel your shoulder blades. And then change directions and go forward with your shoulders. And then we'll do one back at a time. Rolling, letting your spine start to feel this too. How's your breath? And then change directions. Arms coming forward, let your spine move, let your ribs move. And then come back to neutral. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open up across your chest. Hug your shoulder blades toward each other. Lift your chin, touch your teeth, open the front of your throat. And then when you're ready, we'll lean forward and lift our arms away from our spine. You can always hold the strap between your hands if your shoulders don't allow for that depth of movement. Release any tension in your neck. Soften your knees. Let the spine lengthen. All right, release the arms. Hands back onto the blocks. A halfway lift. Melting to fold. Step your left foot back. Come to a lunge right side. Finding that movement that helps us not only open our hamstrings and hip flexors, but helps us connect to our breath. So feel your way into your breathing as you bend and straighten your front knee. Can you feel those hip flexors start to open up? Come down onto your knee. Enjoy the hip flexor of that back leg opening up a little bit. Try not to collapse to the floor, but we're pressing into the ground. reaching that left arm up in the air. A little bit of an arcing over lunge, maybe an inch more. Make sure you're self-supporting in this. Forearm, hand, and elbow to your knee and twist open. Focus on that hip flexor. Try to get the psoas to expand with the breath. All right, coming back to center. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Press into your legs again. Find your lunge. Push through your feet. Rising up, crescent lunge. Arms upward. Maybe you want to have a little bit of a heart lifting. Maybe your head lifts. Maybe a little teeny bit of a back bend. Take a deep breath in. Cactus the arms. And then press forward. One more time, pushing through your feet, rising up, cactus your arms, this time arms back behind you, palms facing the ground, lean forward a little bit. Engage your core, ribs in, engage your triceps, your back muscles. And then release your hands down onto the ground. We're almost off this leg. Lift up into a half splits, feeling that strength of your glutes supporting you. Big breaths here. We'll do one Jiva squat. Inhale, expand. Exhale, squat down in. Push through your foot, lengthen again. And then put that left foot down next to your right. And find some rest. Relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. And as you exhale, release that right foot back. Come to a lunge this side. Grounding yourself here. Opening up through your heart. And we'll start to move our body on this side, bending and straightening the front knee. Finding that breath. Feeling the delicious feeling of opening up your hamstrings and your glutes and your hip flexors. And making sure that you're finding this with your breath. Ground your back knee onto the earth. You can either have your toes curled under or your foot flat, your choice. Come on up, reach the right arm up in the air. Your left hand can be on your leg or on a block, however is comfortable for you. Reaching up, press your shin down, lengthen and breathe. We'll find a twist here, forearm, elbow, or hand on your knee. Twisting open, hug to the midline with your legs pressed down. Release your hands down onto the blocks. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Find your lunge again. Root your feet. Take your time, rising up to a crescent lunge. Arms coming upward. Feel that expansive reach to the sky. Open your heart. Ground through your legs. Check in with the base of your skull and make sure it's at ease. And we'll start to move. Open the breath. Cactus on the inhale. Press forward on the exhale. Push, coming back up. Cactus the arms. This time our arms will come back, palms facing the ground, triceps engaged. Lean forward a little bit, ribs in, push your feet. Drop your shoulders away from the ears and feel your back and core engage. Bring your hands down onto the blocks. Lift up, half splits. Both legs are straight. Squaring the pelvis. Find your deep breath. A breath in. As you exhale, Jiva squat, tuck down in. Push through your feet, straight legs again. Find that heart lengthening forward. And then we'll place our right foot down next to our left. Find your breath. Inhale for a halfway lift. melting to fold. Touch your toes together. Let's find our way to a chair pose. Feel your back body engage. Notice if your floating ribs want to push forward, see if you can draw them in a little bit. Press into your heels. Feel your glutes turn on. And gently come up onto your toes, reaching your arms high. Exhale, heels back down, float forward, come back to a dog pose. Breathing deeply. All right, let's come forward into a plank. Holding yourself steady here. All right, and we'll put your knees down, find the earth. Do some shoulder rolls like we were doing standing. And then when you're ready, a cobra pose. Open chest, elbows back. Exhale. Releasing again. One more time, shoulders back. Enjoy the front body length. Open that heart and release. So now, take your hands wide like a V, palms on the ground. Stretch and lengthen through your belly, through your legs. Breathe while you're here. And then relax to come down. Come up on all fours and let's move around in your spine. Wag your tail. Do some circles with your pelvis if you'd like. Just kind of find whatever movements working for you today. And we'll take our left foot back straight behind us, curl the toes under, cross it over to the right side and turn and look at that foot. And just enjoy stretching open that deep low back muscle. And then coming back to center, switching sides. Right foot back, toes curl under, cross it to the left, and turn and look. Okay, coming back to center, stretch back, down onto the ground, child's pose. Breathe down the length of your spine. Let's flip over onto our back for a moment. We're going to just do some dragging of the sacrum to just wake up some of the low back strength and the paraspinal muscles, the multifidi. Okay, so we'll root four corners of feet. Okay. Engage your core. So if sense in, imagine you had a block between your thighs, so your transverse abdominis is here for you. And then we're going to just gently press our sacrum tailbone area down into the ground and just drag it toward your shoulders. Feel the muscles along your spine contract a bit in your low back and then relax. And you can posterior tilt if you'd like to kind of go the other extreme. And then we'll press our tail sacrum down again, drag it toward our shoulders. Notice your feet ground the four corners of your feet. Relax that. Maybe a slight posterior tilt. Ground the four corners of feet, sacrum pressing, and drag the sacrum toward the shoulders. And then relax and melt that. Let's lift up into a bridge pose here. Ground your feet. Lift up, climb onto the tops of the shoulders, and just enjoy the efforting that is involved here. It's really a very full body pose. So press your arms into the ground, press your feet into the ground, gentle pressure of the back of the head. Think less about collapsing your chin toward your chest and more about lifting your chest toward your chin. Root into your feet well. Feel that energy of your arms pressed down. How's your breath? Alright, and then relax your pelvis back down. Undo your arms and windshield wiper your knees, left and right. Okay. Roll to your right side, palms together, knees together. Then when you're ready, everything's at right angles with your legs. When you're ready, we'll twist open here. Let your knees slide apart. So you really feel this through your whole spine. Twist, turn your head, and then come back to center. Switch sides. Roll to your left, palms together. Start with your knees together. Knees are at a right angle, as are your hips at a right angle. Roll open. Turn your head. Enjoy the full twist. Enjoy opening up through your chest. And then release the arms down. Stretch open to a star. Expand your body. Exhale, knees into your chest, rolling to your side, up onto your hands and your knees. You can come into a dog pose whenever you're ready. So take some time to ground yourself and then lift on up. Root down and rise. Feel the length in your body. Lift your right leg up in the air and stack it open. Full breaths here. Breathe into that psoas one more time. And then square the pelvis. Feel that reaching. Bring your right foot forward to a lunge. Plant your back heel and root it down. Inhale, rise up, Vera 1. You can interlace your fingers if you'd like. You can interlace your elbows if you'd like. You can stretch your arms wide. You can keep your hands on your hips. Whatever support feels best to you. Root down to rise up. Find your breath. Open the heart. Lift it to the sky. And release your hands down. Back foot comes forward. A deep fold. A halfway lift. Open up through your spine. Exhale. And relax down. Back to a dog. Second side, we'll lift the left leg up in the air and stack it open. Bend your knee. Feel that reaching from navel to knee. Support with both hands. Big breaths. Square up the pelvis again. Reach that leg back. Deep breath. Bring your foot forward. Ground your back heel. Vera 1, push through your feet. Rising up. Whatever you did with your arms last time, whatever position you found worked best for you, find it again. Root to rise. Can you expand your heart space? Part of this offering of forgiveness and being forgiven is willing to open your heart. Are you willing to open your heart? Hands come back down. Dog pose. Come forward into a plank. Push the ground away. Find the earth. Let's take our hands down at our sides, palms facing the floor. Lift everything up off the ground. Feel your back body engage. Feel your core support that. Neck is long, shoulders down. Exhale and relax. Roll to your right side. Bend your knees again. This time grab onto your left ankle and stretch through your quad. Heel toward your buttocks. Relax. You can, if you want, you can put your head on a block if that feels like a nice support, or you can just rest it on your arm. Okay, draw that knee back in. We'll roll to the other side. So come on your left. Use a block under your head if you'd like. Bend your knees. Grab your right ankle and then stretch your heel toward your buttocks and the knee lengthens back. Keep your knee in line with your hip instead of lifting it up. Find the stabilization through your core. All right, and then relax and come back down onto your belly. Come up to all fours. Breathing deeply, wag your tail. Maybe a child's pose is in order. And then we're going to come onto our belly for full Dhanurasana. Grab onto your feet or use a strap if your feet are not so available to you. Tail long. Take a deep breath in and lift on up. Keep your knees in line with your hips. Keep your neck long. Try not to fling your head back. Breathe deeply. Relax and bring your hands underneath your forehead. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees lefty righty. Feet down. Let's bring our left knee up toward our armpit. Look at your knee, let that hip stretch a little bit, and then we'll find our twist. Roll open. Keep melting the head. Enjoy the stretch across your pecs. Okay, come back to center and we'll do the other side. Right knee toward your chest. You can take your left arm, cross it to the right, and roll open to a twist. And release that. Come back onto your front. Come up onto all fours. You might need to grab a prop. We're going to do a pigeon pose. So grab a blanket or a block if you need it underneath your sit bone. You can always do a reverse pigeon pose if that's better for your body. All right, so right leg is in front. We'll lengthen here. A full breath. And then melt to fold into this pose. Now, as we find the length of our spine, let's try not to collapse everything that we just opened up. So have enough height underneath your head and enough support for your posture where you're not hunkering and rounding the spine, but finding deep length. So that could mean flipping onto your back if you can't find it, or putting more props underneath you. Full breaths here. And when you feel ready, we'll push off the ground with our hands and change sides. If you're on your back, just switch your legs, grab onto the other thigh, squaring the pelvis no matter what you're doing. Make sure you check in with your joints and make sure everything feels safe. You're not guarding your joints. You're not. There's no sirens going off. And your spine can stay spacious. We're not losing all the front body space we just created. We're living in that front body space. Melt what you can. And take a couple of deep breaths before you come up. Really find in these last couple of breaths the depth of your release. Now come on up and out of the pose. Okay, we're gonna grab all the props you have for a Supta Baddha Konasana. If there's anything that you haven't touched yet, if you need more release for your back, like a happy baby or a twist or something, go ahead and do that. We're gonna get all set up, and then we're gonna do this for a moment, and then we have one more pose to do before Shavasana. So we're not gonna go right from this to Shavasana. I'm gonna, pull out all the stops today. I'm gonna have my bolster. I'm gonna have some support for my arms. I'm gonna have some support for my legs. Just kind of find whatever your good stuff is. Hey, grab some pillows. Whatever you need for this pose. So we're gonna sit in front of our blankets or bolsters or whatever you're propping up behind you. Soles of the feet together, knees out to the sides. So, be creative about your home props. You may not have a bolster, and that's okay. There's always ways to find things to prop you up. Okay. Once you're here, if there's anything you're like, oh, I wish I had, something under my head or an eye covering or, whatever. Try to know what your body likes for this pose so that you can set yourself well. And then come into your breath. Once you're organized in your body and you've got it squared away where everything's supported and you feel like you're in a nest of comfort, then find your way into your melting. And be mindful of the heart opening of this posture. Melt your head. Let your heart be the leader of the pose. Can you sense into that quality of mercy, of understanding that the heart can have both compassion and suffering? That all of us, every one of us, could use the sense of connection that offering and receiving forgiveness can give. Prepare your heart for the work ahead of that deep contemplation. See if you can just rest in the heart space. Melt anything you can. you're ready to release from this pose, and you can ignore me. If you're like, oh, I'm so in this, I don't want to move, don't move. Just stay right where you are. And if you are ready to create change, we're going to just do something very simple before Shavasana. Grab your strap, lie down on your back, and bring your feet straight up into the strap. And see if when you're doing this, you can elongate the wholeness of your spine, the backs of the legs, while keeping the heart relaxed and open. So walk down the strap so your elbows are softening toward the ground, your shoulders are melting toward the ground, and there's this deep sense of length in your spine. Let go of the strap, grab your feet. If you want to do a little rocking happy baby, great. And if not, just find your way into Shavasana. Perhaps today you would like a bolster that you were just using under your back, under your knees. Anything that feels supportive for Shavasana is great. Maybe you're a little chilly and you'd like a blanket. Maybe whatever you need. So as you find your way to rest in Shavasana, remember that the earth supports you all day, every day. So allow yourself to melt into that feeling of support. That, whatever your beliefs are, that you have support, that there's other people, your highest self, your experience of the divine, the earth itself, all these elements of support in your life. Let's offer our weight and our surrender to that support. Just let yourself sink into gratitude. Take a moment to Feel your body weight itself down to the ground again. Notice the receptivity of your mind, your body, your heart. And see if you can stay in this open-hearted space today as best as you can to allow that flow of keeping the heart open. Let's begin to move. Any way you like to transition out of Shavasana is great. And as you come to a comfortable seat, taking your time, see if this open-hearted space you've created can help you cultivate humility and humbleness. And as you offer yourself in connection to others, to one person, to many people, to the world, can you do so through the sense of this open-hearted, humble place? Namaste. Thank you, everyone.